Are you noticing the theme of death and destruction coming up a lot for you lately? Then this video's for you. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name's Fola, and here on Deep Mind Squared, we talk all things bridging mental wellness and spirituality for nurses. And as a Scorpio, I pride myself in the fact that this birth, death, rebirth cycle seems to be very prominent in life. Or at least I really like to notice the synchronicities that play out around this topic. And that can be really hard. I mean, we live in this society where death and dying, grieving is not really looked in a positive light, especially in the West. And that can be a challenge when we're going through loss. And if there's one thing COVID's taught us is that loss is like a real thing, whether it's like actual loss or a perceived loss. And that can lead to a lot of traumatic experiences for ourselves. So wherever you might be, as we start this video, I just encourage you to check in with your body, check in with where your emotions are at, and just have some compassion for yourself. It's okay to have a wide range of different emotions when we talk about death and dying and about that loss. So yeah, just look after you. Before we get into it all, though, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're updated on future video releases. So here we are in this world where things are really starting to heat up, and there's a lot of conversation around our well-being and our safety, which is completely understandable. I think it's important for us to acknowledge that we are these finite beings. We have this body, this flesh, and it's not going to be with us forever. And that can be a scary topic to think about. It can be really overwhelming. I know for myself, I had a lot of fear of death when I was especially younger, up until like university, like still. I mean, not that I'm over it. I'd say I'm very much like my physical body and want to keep myself living as long as I can. So far, so good. But this sense of like moving through and understanding this deeper connection to the fact that even though we have this like finite physical vessel that we inhabit, there is something more to us. We are part of this like infinite experience of spirit going through time and space, and that we can utilize this time that we have here now to really support ourselves in growing and evolving in our consciousness. And this will in turn support others in their evolution. And this is how we like progress forward. And so part of that progression, though, is around this theme of death and dying and of the loss. And as I'd said, like this world situation that we're finding ourselves in the last 2 years have been this reminder that things perceived or real can just be gone. And so loss can be perceived or real. And that can be really overwhelming when there's things that we feel are super important to us, our relationships, the certain items or objects that we claim as ours, like in the material world, our jobs. There's so many things. I mean, I don't even want to count how many things I've like had to let go of or have had taken, stripped away, whatever that is, removed from my life. And it is heavy, heavy stuff. And every day I just pray like, oh, please, like whatever else things might need to be, out of my life, let me just be able to handle those with like ease and with compassion and gratitude and love, while still moving through the heavy emotions that will inevitably come up with any loss. So that reminder, if you're feeling the sadness, if you're feeling anger, frustration, if you're in denial, like whatever emotion you might be having or whatever sensations in your body, like those are normal. It's your experience. You need to move through it the way you need to move through it. I think the important thing here is that we learn to not overly attach to whatever these items are. And I guess this is kind of part of the world life lesson, is how do we live in this world without becoming overly attached to it. And I think across time, like different religions, different spiritual beliefs have maybe taken that beliefs and or that thought and really extended it maybe a bit too much, where it's like, okay, you can live in the world, not be of the world, meaning don't have anything to do with anything physical, don't enjoy life and all these things. I don't really agree with that. I think we're here to explore and experience the world around us. You know, spirit wants to explore all the physicality on this material plane. But it's like, how do we do that without overly identifying ourselves as the owners of something or as part of something? And that can be really challenging. I find that I'm almost like on the other end, where it's like I don't attach too much to things, and then that is like a self-sabotage. So, you know, there's like all these different ways in which you can be in this space. But I want to encourage you with this death, dying, loss sort of like paradigm, is how can you allow and just trust that within that loss there is something really great happening. This is why I love the work of like the shadow, working with that like goddess energy, Babylon, like really connecting to the fact that, you know, they say in this one poem, it's like, death is not a shadow in her army, but a lover who caresses a true king. And I just like really ponder that like statement, like how is it that we can shift our perception of death and perhaps imagining it as this loving embrace of potential and of like connection in that loss, because what's going to happen inevitably is something new is going to come into your life. You might not see it in this moment, and again, it doesn't mean that that's like just ignore all the pain and all the suffering. Like, no, you're still going to feel the feelings and the emotions and have those thoughts and miss the person or things or whatever that loss might be around. But like having the faith that there is something really beautiful, you know, like around the corner. And so, I mean, I say this, I feel like I really have not had that much loss. Like I've had loss, but maybe I haven't experienced like the deep, deep loss of someone or something. And I know that's inevitable. And I just hope and pray each day that I can like just meet those edges wherever I'll be at, whenever those things happen, if they happen. I'm not going to live my life in a complete dread, because that's one thing I've learned is like the fear that wants to come in. This is the ego. This is what I identify as like that devil mindset. The Buddha had this when, you know, that Maya was trying to tempt and create all these illusions, when the Buddha was going to like reach enlightenment. Jesus went through this in the desert with like the devil coming and tempting him for 40 days or whatever it was. And there's something really potent for us to acknowledge, that we can center ourselves through meditation, mindfulness, bring ourselves back to this place of being, and just observing those thoughts that might be coming in, and observing and acknowledging that we might have a lot of fear. So I invite you to do these things, give it a try. Let us know in the comments where you're at with this. Maybe there's something you're really being fearful of letting go or losing. Feel free to share. And by naming it, I think we then take more power over whatever that fear might be. And I invite you to like and share this video with anyone you think might benefit from listening to it today. And hopefully we will be able to all just support one another with opening our hearts and starting to shift our perception on this birth, death, and rebirth process. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you all in another video. Take care.